And welcome everyone to this May 1st meeting of the Auburn School Committee. Begin this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, if you would please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And introductions. We will start with you, Bob.
Bob Manili, Ward 1.
Faith Fontaine at large.
Brian Belknap, Ward 4.
Tom Kendall, Ward 3, and we're excusing Bonnie Hayes. She's still in Florida on vacation.
Katie Gronin, Superintendent.
At Gaudier at large.
Dan Poisson, Ward 5.
Alfreda Fournier, Mayor's Representative, and I'm in Ward 4.
Michelle McClellan, Assistant Superintendent.
Adam Hansen, Business Manager.
Communications. Anyone received a communication they'd like to share with the rest of the board at this point? Frida, are you looking as though you have something? Or
No,
no?
I'm trying to think. I've got jet lag right now. I don't think I'm
All right. Good enough. This evening's agenda, the consent agenda, which is the approval of this agenda, the approval of our minutes from the April 3rd and the 24th meeting, and we have a long list of certificated contract renewals. If everyone has had an opportunity to review those, plus the two that were added on the addendum. So if everyone has had...
By law, you need to approve these by May 14th. So there is a
Right.
law, and then those who are not being asked back will receive a letter before that.
So we are currently long list of both first year and second year probationary. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second, thank you. If there's any further discussion? All those in favor? And unanimous. Thank you very much. Public participation. We have an opportunity for the public to share with us any comments they may have for anything that is not on the agenda. If we are missing
Our
Our
wonderful
wisdom.
administrative
Yes, I
staff,
see the
our
administrative-
teachers union president, a teacher and principal training. I mean,
teacher and principal training, I like that.
and
All right.
Billy, our maintenance, right, don't
We will move along to the superintendent's report, which is planning and development, which involves the ASD parent, the new ASD parent advisory group.
Right, so I thought it'd be good to update you on Michelle McClellan and Sue Doris are facilitating our new parent advisory group. So they're going to explain how this came to be, and they've had 2 meetings. And so I think it's important that you obviously are in the loop on things that we're trying to do to create more opportunity for voices in our community to have input. So Michelle and Sue.
Great. Well, good evening, you all. And as you know, there have been some, in recent past, some meetings, some groups that have met that have involved parents and looking at needs within our school programming that we got input from different stakeholder groups. And the most recent one being the task force around proficiency-based. And out of that group, which is now, they finished up their task, and we completed that task that ended in March. Out of that group, there were some recommendations for some stakeholder groups to continue to focus on some of the concerns that were raised through some surveying. And so there was a need for a teacher group around the curriculum and the instruction. And then there was a need for a forum for parents. And how do we have a group that comes together regularly and looks at concerns from the parent perspective? Well, simultaneously, Sue, who oversees our title grants, has been looking at best practices in involving parents in our school programming. And so from the title perspective, from Every Student Succeed Act, there's a recommendation to have a district level advisory, and then there was this need that we had identified at the local level for a forum for parents to have voice in our programs more deliberately. So seemed like a perfect opportunity to bring that together. So Sue and I have worked on that. Sue's going to walk you through the process that we've gone through to date. We've had 2 meetings, but a lot of work before that in putting this together. So Sue, you want to take it?
So we started recruiting parents in December, and we continued to recruit parents into the month of January. We sent flyers out through all the elementary schools, and we put some posts up on Facebook. And in February, we finalized our group, and we were able to have our first meeting in February. We've had 2 meetings so far. And overall, we have about 20 to 25 participants in the group. And we have all levels represented, elementary, middle school, and high school. And we have a mix of parents and staff who are parents also, and just staff. So it's almost like a third, a third, a third. So we have a nice makeup to the group with all levels represented. We have 2 main purposes for the group right now. One of the purposes is to promote family engagement, and the other big purpose is to provide input on educational programming. So some of the tasks that we are going to look at under the engagement piece will be to evaluate and revise our parent involvement policies and to do some policy work, and to identify effective parent and family engagement strategies, and to look at the communication piece between home and school. And we obviously want to strengthen our communication practices between home and school. And then around the input on educational programming, we are going to be looking at our local curriculum and our instruction and assessment practices as one task. And another will be for this group to be able to provide some feedback to different groups in the system, including groups from administrators, schools, the school committee and things like that. So this group will be able to generate some feedback for other groups in the district who make decisions. And then there's another task that's in here under educational programming, and that goes along with the Every Student Succeeds Act, which is that we are going to look at the state standards and examine those. So that'll be fun work when we get to that. One of the things that we've done so far is we've looked at some of the research, and we've also looked at what's going on in our district around family engagement. So I just want to share with you some of the things that we've done at our meetings so far. We've reviewed the purpose and tasks of the group. We've looked at the research on family engagement, which I'll share with you a few little pieces in just a minute. We talked about the shift from parent involvement to family engagement, and there is a shift. There's a shift in the law under the Every Student Succeeds Act, so I'll talk about that a little bit. And then the group has looked at what's working right now in Auburn, and there are a lot of things that are working, and what's challenging right now, and what are some things that we need to work on. And then at the last meeting, we began to create our definition for family engagement. And at the next meeting, we're going to be identifying our beliefs and values so that we can use those to guide the work that we're going to be doing with our policies. So I just want to tell you what the research says. When parents are engaged and involved, their children succeed. There's no question about this. We know this from decades of research. So when parents are involved, students' grades improve, attendance is more regular, students are more likely to enroll in higher level programs, they are more likely to graduate from high school and go on to college, they are more excited and positive about their learning, and their behavior improves in school and out of school. So the research is clear. And with that, what's happening now around family engagement is there is this shift going on from what we used to think about as parent involvement to family engagement. So the shift is from the idea that children learn only at school to, we know that children learn anytime, anywhere. They learn at home. They learn out in the community. So the shift is important to recognize, and there are some other things too that we're moving from and to. We want to move away from random acts of family engagement to a more systemic approach that's continuous and that honors the student through each transition. So when students start with us in pre-K, we have a great entry into school, we have home visits, and we want to continue a plan for students all the way through elementary school, transitioning to middle school, transitioning to high school, and then after that as well. So it's a continuous system as opposed to, this is what we're going to do when you're in elementary school. And this is the night we're going to have when you go to middle school. The other piece of this shift is looking at engaging all families. So we move away from, in the past, we might only be engaging certain families, to now looking at how are we going to engage all of our families? How do we welcome all of our families? How do we honor all the differences? And how do we connect with everyone? And then the last thing I would mention is there's a shift from doing like something to or for our families to co-creating the opportunities for engagement. So we all work together and we all create plans together for the students.
Yeah, and I would just add with that the group was really, came together very quickly around this and really embraced it and began co-creating, I would say, just from right out the gate. So looking at the way that schools have traditionally engaged families is we have an event and we say, come, it's going to be a lot of fun. You're really going to enjoy what we plan and do with you or for you. Versus now we want to be able to have opportunities where we're meeting parents where they're at, sometimes physically, but also just where they're at in terms of their development as a family. We think about child development a lot in schools, but now we want to look at what's the family development and what are their needs developmentally as their children grow. So meeting them more where their needs are at and co-creating those experiences together. So where are we at, or where are we going next? So we've had 2 meetings. We hope to be back to see you next year with some of the people from our committee to present that to you themselves. So we're in the beginning planning stages, but we're moving forward. You'll see us again with policy. Sue mentioned that. We're going to be taking the work that we're doing right now and looking at our parent engagement policy. So you'll see that before you next fall. And then we're going to begin to craft out that plan based on the beliefs and the value statements of looking at improving our engagement with families, but also taking a look at our educational program. And we'll look at that from a district level and a school level, because I believe that's where every Students Succeed Act
Yes.
does require
Yes.
an advisory at the schools. So we'll be looking at some ways to make that a more systemic, as Sue said, process, and that we're cohesive and comprehensive in that approach. I just wanted to add too, Sue, that when we first put out the all call, whoever's interested, we had 42 respondents who were interested. So our first meeting had around 30-something.
30, 35, first
Okay.
meeting, yeah.
So the first meeting, anyone who's thrown a party or started a group, you get a lot of people who say they'll come at first. If you've ever been to a PTO meeting in September versus in May, what that looks like. So we were thrilled when we saw 42, way beyond thrilled. And so to have 25 who came to our last meeting, we think, okay, this is a good group of people, very engaged.
Yeah.
Questions for us?
Yes, Pat?
Okay, you have 25 parents from 8 schools. How are they going to relate back to their schools? Because you said they were going to tie into school activities. So it seems like this is an overarching advisory board, so tell me how they're going to connect on the lower level, school level.
So, yes, that is to come. So we really are two things on this. So we're really trying to be organic and co-create this experience with this group. I came in with that being on my agenda right off the bat, saying we need to have this district, and then we need to have it each school, and it needs to look like this. And what I'm learning about this group is they are really excited and energized about being part of how that looks. And right now, they are pretty energized about having those conversations about district level. But Pat, that is the intent, is how is this going to tie back to the school? Because we all know that's where most parents get engaged. Some are excited about the district level work. Here you are. But most really want to impact, and they want to be known, and they want to interact at that district level. So I want to be careful that I don't prescribe it too much to you in answering the question, but the intent is that will come next year. Yeah.
Yes.
I want to commend you for this work. This has been something that has been waiting in the wings for a while. I think it's outstanding. I think it provides a vehicle for people to get information, to provide feedback, and the wheels are turning now and with parents. And, you know, with the fact that you had 40 some odd, that really speaks highly to the desire for parents to engage. When the year goes on next year, in terms of the 3 school levels, do you feel you're going to have enough representation from all of the schools so that you can hear the concerns and the applauds of everything all along the way, so you can have continued conversation regarding that?
We'll make sure.
Yeah.
So already, even in the 42, you think, wow, that's a great
Wow, I think it's a
cross-section,
wow.
right? And it wasn't. We got in the room, and Sue and I stood in front of it, and while they do a lot of talking in this group. It's not just Sue and I, it's a lot of table work. And we were saying on that very first meeting, and in fact, Mrs. Mitchell-Lila said we need to make sure we have other representation, better representation from our district and our parents here. So we already are assuring and looking at that. So to answer you more directly, we will make sure that we have people from all levels, and it will have to be because there's going to be something back at the schools.
That would be great for the schools to know when school begins, or maybe at the end of the year, or when school begins, a little blurb sent out to parents saying this is what's gone on at this point, and we're anticipating, starting up again. We welcome anyone, because this is not an inclusive group. This is a group where we really need all of a group think tank, and to make decisions from there. So.
Thank you for that. I also want to say that the group is open, and anyone who wants to join can join. We do have a little website that we're putting all of our work on right now, so it's you can visit the Title I page of the Auburn School Department, and you can read about the group, and you can click into the group folder in Google Docs and see what we've done so far. So, and we'd welcome any parents at this point to join at any time.
Thank you very much. This is outstanding work so far. Thank you.
Faith?
I'm happy to see it's an open group and that we've had a lot of interest because, like you said, the research shows that kids learn everywhere, and I think there's been a perspective that kids just learn in school and that's our job to teach kids, but we all know that's not, as being a parent of 3. How often are you meeting? Is this group meeting, and where? And time frame? What are the hours?
The 2 meetings we've had so far, we have met on a Monday night from 6 to 7:15 at Park Avenue, and free childcare is provided.
Oh, even
So
better.
we are hoping to have at least one more meeting this school year, and then we'll go from there.
to know. Thank you.
And you will have a school committee representative, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so he will,
pressure.
Brian will be reporting out on those meetings. So
Great.
you'll keep your finger on the pulse of how things are going.
I would ask you to repeat the early statements on, just for clarification, the goals of this parent advisory group and how it relates to student education, student growth, and student performance. If you could restate that, Sue?
The purpose is twofold. It's to promote family engagement and to provide input on educational programming. And then some of the tasks underneath those areas are to evaluate and revise our parent engagement policies, do some policy work. We want to work together to identify effective engagement strategies and to facilitate communication between schools and families. And then under the educational programming piece, we're going to review our local curriculum, instruction, and assessment practices. And as a group, we are going to generate some feedback to groups in the district, what we're seeing in there. And then the last part of that is to review the state academic standards. That's a piece under the Every Student Succeeds Act.
The research shows that if we can engage, if parents are engaged, then student performance goes up.
Yes, that is the research.
That's really where
when parents are involved and engaged, student achievement increases, yes.
It is the highest yield factor in student engagement. We don't spend a lot of time on it, talking about it as educators, because we can't influence that in the same way we can influence, say, instructional practice. But it is, when you look at the research, it is the highest yield. We just got that reinforced, didn't we, when we were at a conference?
Yeah, and having parents' voice in that is imperative. We can only make assumptions, and so them driving the plan is going to help.
This is very good,
Very good.
very good.
Thank you very much. Look forward to the next report.
Excellent, good.
Just to give you a preview, next school committee meeting, we will be having Healthy Androscoggin here to talk about the Jules concerns. So just so you know that they are coming for our next meeting.
All right, the next item on the agenda is our school budget. We need to approve the budget, and so it goes forward to the city council and then on to the voters at a referendum. We have a budget before us that has been discussed and approved. I would, at this point, in order to get it on the table for discussion, because I believe Elfrida has something to say, we need a motion on the budget. If I change my glasses, I'll be able to read what's here.
Good idea.
All right. The motion to the school committee budget for the 2019-20 school year in the amount of $45,337,438, and request that the school committee approve it prior to submission to the city council. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
A second? Dan, thank you. All right, discussion. Elfrida, I believe you have.
Yes, and thank you, Superintendent Grondin, for taking my call and hearing my, my statement. I've been talking with the city council and with the mayor and the manager, and for a long time, there's been discussion about trying to go down even further than the 0% to like $400,000, and I said that is, that's really not achievable, but I do feel that I would like to ask the superintendent to look at the budget one more time to see if there is an area where we could collect perhaps $150,000, and then together with all of the cutting that we're doing, we're not even done yet at the city, hopefully if this can come in a true zero from both sides, then it would be a big a big achievement for the taxpayers, and would almost assuredly guarantee that we would be able to have a yes on the ELHS and a yes on the budgets. So I asked, Superintendent to just consider if there's any possibility that can happen.
So I hear you're asking for a further reduction below the zero increase to the mill rate that has basically been the consensus of this board to date. Do you have specific areas that you feel the reduction would take place?
Well, one of the areas I was thinking of, I don't have this laid out, one of them was to look again at the unfilled positions. It could be, you did get $45,000 out of that. If there could be some more out of that area. And then the other areas would be, what did I not cover? Salaries is one that we can't go there. That's firmed up by union, but are there some salaries that are not firmed up yet that could be adjusted, that are non-union? Those would be a couple areas. And what did I not cover with the other cost centers? We can't touch CIP because you're already using that towards ELHS. Those would be just a couple that I could think of right now. And if you know of any other areas where there are some extra funds that are being held and not expended.
Certainly the undesignated fund balance, which we carry year to year, which we used last year at the city's request to reduce the impact on voters for the, which was a substantial amount last year that was provided by the school department back to the city. This would be the second year where the city council is asking the school department with its funds to fund to a greater extent the needs of the city. We have on this board debated our current budget, and we feel it's an appropriate budget for what we have. I guess I'm going to ask if, I assume you're going to make a motion to amend the budget to a dollar value, and you're saying 150,000. So I'm going to assume you're asking for an amendment.
Yes.
To our budget, and in that case, it would need a second to go forward, so I'm going to ask if...
I'll second it, and can we hear from Katie what she has to say about this proposal?
We will, Bob. So there's a second, so that's open for discussion. I'll have, if there's anyone on the school committee at this point that has a thought to share. If not, Katie, if you have something else to share at this point regarding the reduction, I know everything that we have in the budget is a necessary part of what we're delivering for education in Auburn, so I'm not sure where you'd take us with this.
Just as I shared with you, I mean, the unfund balance is one area we can look at. I did talk to Chairman Kendall after your phone call to discuss this. I mean, you have a balance here of the budget. So if we're going to look at all things, that's what we would have to consider, and that would be the decision of the board, is are we going to go down each account and nickel and dime to find the 150,000, or are we going to look at fund balance as a possibility? We've had our fund balance, as everybody looks at your revenue sources. Our fund balance has ranged way back in 2013-14. It was at 856, 882. It got as high as 906, 882, and we carried that until last year when we attempted to bring it down. We were at 719. We have brought it up to 773 this year. So I think we would feel comfortable going at $100,000 to get there. As a possibility. It would bring us to 873,025. So, but that would be the will of the group. I don't know how comfortable we are at 150,000 there, but I think we could do the 100,000, and then.
I was just going to suggest that if 150 is a stretch, that to me would be reasonable if that could be done. And we are, believe me, we are at the city side really cutting significantly. I've spent a lot of time doing that. We're not done yet.
Without
So
digging
that's
into,
my thought.
digging into individual budget lines and where you might find some funds here and there. Offering that 100,000 additional usage of our undesignated fund balance addresses the needs that the council has asked us to do.
It does.
It doesn't directly hamper or hurt the programs that we have designed for this coming year.
We won't touch them.
Right.
It puts the onus on Adam to keep us fiscally sound in this next year and to watch the expenditures, but I believe it would be my recommendation that we increase our fund balance allocation by $100,000 and therefore reduce the tax impact from the school budget to the city mill rate.
That would be most appreciated.
All right?
And, Adam, how much is that a savings to the mill rate, the 100,000?
So the 100,000 would be 5 cents off the mill rate.
So, Anita, Elfrida, your amendment at this point would be to use another 100,000 of the undesignated fund balance?
Exactly.
And Bob, will you accept that as an adjustment to
Yep,
the?
first I'd like to ask Alfreda, is the city going to come into 0% increase also?
That's what we're looking for, right?
I would accept that amendment.
Accept that? Any further discussion on the amendment? We're going to vote on the amendment, which then changes the budget figure when we'll vote on that. So there are two votes coming before us. First, the amendment that's been proposed, which is to increase the use of our undesignated fund balance by $100,000.
Tom, just to clarify, it doesn't change the number that's on the agenda.
No, it doesn't. So do I have any further questions for a vote? All those in favor? All those in favor, let's look at it again. We got one, two,
As the
three,
amendment,
four.
For the
Yeah, for the amendment.
amendment,
This
for
is,
the
this is
100.
the amendment.
my concern is just, are they going to ask for more? They've already
Right.
said
No,
zero.
we're done. We're done.
Is this
No.
official, or
This
is
is-
it, we keep going back and forth?
No,
and it's
this
like-
is it. I mean,
And hopefully the other departments do the same thing.
Right.
Seems like that's what I'm concerned.
But we have no say over that, and that's where I feel like we're caught because they have to approve it and they can keep asking. And at what point do we put our foot down and say, no, we're not?
you have
Because
my
we're at
word that this is
0%,
the...
we're at 0%.
Right, you have my word that this is the last piece that we're asking for. Actually, for the longest time, it was 400,000, and I said, that's not doable. And we are still going through our budget, and we are chopping. So it's not going to be the budget that's presented. the
So
city
we have your
budget.
word that if we vote to increase our fund balance 100,000 to the 873, is that correct? 25, that the city council is going to approve this budget.
Yes. And the other thing to discuss is that when it comes time for your $70,000 in permit fees, that is another area where we are willing to waive when
Great.
time
Yeah,
comes.
that's permitting.
So that's $70,000,
Construction,
The new construction with the high school?
high school, yeah.
high school
The permits that you would normally have to get.
permitting fees.
They'll waive
Okay.
that.
And I think
So
that's a
that's a
great
big-
idea because
Yeah,
there's
this is the
hundreds of
balance.
thousands of dollars in permits.
Right, right.
So any further questions? I'm going to have to take that vote again on the amendment, which is to use that. So all those in favor of the amended budget number, that approve the amendment? Very good. And now
Thank you
we're on to
very
the budget figure, which is back to the original motion because that doesn't change the bottom line. It keeps the number at the same thing. It's just how the funds are,
The impact on local.
yeah,
so
on local. Is-
Where it says, I'm just,
Yeah.
so you know where you have local at 0 right now?
Yep.
The 17,806,857? That's going to go down to 17,706,857, correct, Adam? Am I correct in the purple? Under total local?
You want to be on the purple, that's at the
Yeah.
very bottom, the 17,997,261.
Okay, so you know where I was in that purple? Follow your purple down to grand total local at 17,997,261. Does everyone see that?
Yep.
Right.
That's where we're taking the 100,000 from.
It'll come out of it. It won't,
Right.
it'll be less 100. Yes, it'd be $8.97,
So the mill rate now for education would be,
5 cents less.
5 cents less, $9.11, if the evaluation holds where it is.
All right, and we've got a motion on the table, which has been amended for the use of the budget, but the motion still stands for the $45,337,438, which has been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the budget? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor of the budget as presented and amended? Thank you very much. That's
Thank you very much.
moving on. We have committee reports, and finance hasn't met, I don't believe.
Yes, we met. We did meet, and Adam went over each line with us, as always, keeping special ed in consideration. Everything is looking to be on track. We did discuss, which is always a surprise to me, the unpaid student lunch balances. So any parents out there listening, please pay your lunch balances. I know
And
administration.
Roz can give an update, because Roz, you've been working very hard.
Yes, and the school administrators are calling parents, and
Yeah, so Roz has gone through every single, made phone calls, left messages, so now we have a running tally, and it's been very good because she's connected people thinking one thing, and so I think it's been good.
so are we getting some
Bridget,
paid?
yes, we've already seen an impact.
Okay, that's good to know, because I was blown away, and we had discussion on, what we're going to do with those balances, if we're going to carry them over, but yeah. And we will never deny a child's food, and the kids will not be shamed. We don't believe in that, but it is an astronomical amount of money that is owed for school lunch balances.
And you've been good, some people had to be put on payment plans, some people need their paperwork, some people didn't understand, some accounts were confused, so I think some of it was communication as well.
Right, and we get that.
Right. So it helped having Roz kind of, the
Yeah, so thank you,
superintendent's
Roz.
office is now calling.
Okay, because I know, and thank you to all the principals at the schools that have been calling
She
also.
comes
Oh,
to
yeah,
save the
yeah.
day.
Yeah, right,
It's
exactly.
like Mighty Mouse.
Very good. I think we've been in touch quite a bit with the city council lately, but Alfreda, do you have an update?
You know what? We know each other very, very well.
At this point, it seemed to
At
be-
this point, I don't
We were
think
all
there's
at the meeting with
anything
you.
that we could report to each other that we don't
I
know.
think we know what's going on. Sounds good. Curriculum, Pat, any,
We have not met.
all right. Wellness,
Yes, we met. So one thing we spent some time on was trying to promote the breakfast. I know Scott, somebody was in communications, texting him during the meeting, and we have been working with Paula, and we're thinking about having a breakfast cart at the high school, just to promote more kids where the high school, if you have your class up in the science wing and the breakfast is in the cafeteria, it's not for teenagers running late to go all the way down there to get a free breakfast. So we're going to try to figure out where and how we put a cart so that kids can just grab it and promote it and show that it's nothing, it's for everybody. It's not a stigmatism that it's low income, it's free for everybody. So kids need to eat, and studies show that healthy brains require food, so.
So
I'm
you said
hoping
it's
to see
free
that-
for everyone? Wow.
Great.
Yep,
That's awesome.
for everybody, yep. So they're trying to think of some things that a banana or a granola bar or something, grab and go, so I think that will be great for the kids.
Do they take donations, or is it coming from a certain organization?
I don't know.
Yeah, that would be, so Paula has that through the, Paula Roulard, who's the food services
Right.
director, through the community,
Oh, the St. Mary's, is it?
no, sorry. It's
It's universal breakfast.
that's the word
Yes,
I'm
that's-
Oh,
looking for.
okay.
Thank you,
Right, yes.
universal breakfast.
Yes.
So it will come out of subsidized,
Subsidized.
that's really what I was looking for, subsidized.
Great.
And it's for all schools have it, not just the high school, so.
Yes, I
yeah.
know. Yeah, my husband started the very first breakfast at Chamberlain School all those years ago. And what a difference it made for
It
these
does, it makes
kids, And especially teenagers that are hungry.
Well, yeah,
like that.
exactly, and their mornings, my teenager's mornings are very busy. She's always running out the door, so.
That's awesome. That's very good.
Speaking of wellness, there was an editorial in the Sun Journal today concerning Park Avenue, and they sent home the wellness policy. And so, Michelle, could you clarify what exactly what's going, I mean,
Sure.
we agree the timing of teacher appreciation, asking for sweets for our teachers while we're sending home a wellness policy, probably was not the best thing to do. So we own that, you know, we recognize that as Michelle spoke to Lila Mitchell today. Timing is, you know, everything. But can you also clarify that about what we allow our, you know, do we tell them they can't eat what their parents packed?
I will gladly clarify that. So in the editorial, two parts, and one was about the idea that students couldn't eat what was packed in there for their lunch. So if a cookie was put in there, that they couldn't eat that because that was against the wellness policy. That is actually not the case. So there is no one who is not eating what they're coming in with for
We're not
lunch
taking food.
or even for snacks. The wellness policy does hold us to modeling and talking about making healthy food choices, but it doesn't talk about banning. Now, the other example in there was for the cupcakes for birthdays. Right? Yes, we are saying let's look at some other options besides cupcakes for birthdays. If Celeste Bodette was here, she would tell you how many cupcakes she gets brought down to her. It doesn't help her healthy, balanced eating when she gets delivered cupcakes for birthday. So she knows basically what I'm saying is how many cupcakes are delivered in the course of a week, how many birthdays for a school that has 570-ish students. So the idea is to start shifting the culture, providing more options for healthy food choices, encouraging that, but certainly not prohibiting snacks that come in. Kale chips, I think he mentioned that as well in the.
Yeah, we used
we're
to
all
make
about
those at
the kale chip.
East Auburn.
Yeah, so we wanted to make you aware of that. And yes, probably for teacher appreciation, it should have been bring a piece of fruit to share with your teacher, but, you know.
And I think that is a shift too.
Right.
On everything in moderation, and then
Exactly.
everything we move the culture
Right.
slowly.
So-
Yeah, Faith?
Baby steps.
Yeah, I was just going to piggyback on Michelle, that we have sent home a one-page abbreviation of the wellness policy, just highlighting different things, and there's been links on what healthy snacks could be to bring into the students, to the classroom. And then also Paula's been working really hard to pull all the unhealthy things from the school stores and, you know, the vending machines. You can't buy Gatorade anymore. So it's really a work in progress, and we're just trying to educate and give parents ideas. And we're not going to shame anybody, but you know, you can make very creative fruit platters instead of
I
bringing
think you did,
cupcakes.
did you not?
Oh yeah,
Right.
Takes a lot of time,
Veggies,
but-
So
veggies and a
you know,
healthy dip.
because we're talking about wellness, I thought we'd recognize the editorial today, and we still need to work on it.
Yes.
We have work
Watch
to do.
Dr. Oz. He has a lot of great ideas. I watch him
Exactly.
in the morning, then I take off for my day, but he's got great ideas
Yeah.
on, healthy
Exactly.
things that really are good.
Right.
Peanut butter, or, celery, cream cheese and celery, things like that.
Different things.
So, yeah, you're right.
We got to be better.
That's why I don't buy chips. I'll eat the whole bag if I.
So to take that one step further,
Yes.
the health of our students, but what about the health of our planet? And the reason I bring this forward is I happened to be in London this past week when there were activists blocking streets and preventing us from getting around London on climate change and things. And part of their information that was provided had to deal with plastics in the environment. And I'm wondering where we are in the school system in reducing the use of one-time use plastics. I know that is becoming a bigger question, and I don't know if that's yet been explored within our system and within our food policies and what's being given through vending machines. Certainly one of the biggest offenders are the plastic bottles for water, soda, and everything else. That may be something that the Wellness Committee might take under advisement, but I don't know whether we don't have our.
No, Paul has heard that.
Yeah.
We've talked about straws, that comes up quite a bit.
Straws, yeah, I just bought a bunch of
Also, using the styrofoam trays, we've talked
yeah.
about that. So some things, like, are convenience, and some things, so there's the balance. So we have talked, Paula, we've talked about that before.
Faith, what the wellness policy, the wellness committee has done around the water, the refillable.
Right,
Yeah,
so all the schools, is
Your own
except for
container.
Franklin is not, has Franklin's gone in?
Franklin doesn't, East Auburn, do you have a water bottle refilling station? Yes, then it's,
So we have talked about.
oh, and RETC.
Right, we've talked about ideas of, if we want to, with some grant money, get each kid a water bottle, but we're not sure how the washing, so we are thinking about it. But there's just a lot of different avenues that we have to
Logistics, yeah.
explore. But yes, we are, the water coolers, the water's cold now, it's safe to drink in the
And
schools,
it's big
so-
enough so you can get your water.
Big water
You're
bottle.
not standing at the fountain like we were many years ago trying to do that. The other thing, you do know that the state of Maine just passed a law around the use of styrofoam. So
Yeah,
we'll have
today,
to-
first state in the country to
state.
ban styrofoam
Yay,
and plastic straws.
yay.
We'll have
Effective.
to,
That'll be big.
we'll
Not
certainly
next
have to
January,
address
the
that.
January after.
Plastic straws.
Yeah, we'll have to address that.
I saw the styrofoam.
Is it that the, the soda machine, well, it used to be soda machines or drink machines, that kind of thing, that used to generate monies for schools. Is that still going on? Is that why the draw for having those machines?
Yeah, you take your money from your machines, right? But I think you only get a percentage.
A percentage,
It's
but if
not a
it's
lot,
not.
is what Paula was
Yeah,
saying.
So if
I
it's
think they
not
get a
much-
small
So it's
percent.
water now.
It's all water.
Yeah, they've changed them drastically, yeah.
That's a good move, the plastics. I'm glad you mentioned that, Tom. I've been watching a few things on TV that's just making me sick to see what they're scooping up at these beautiful beaches. Plastic from everywhere, and the animals, balloons. We really shouldn't be releasing balloons in the air
No.
because it's ingested by the fish.
Yeah, killing them.
Really?
Audit committee, you haven't met?
We haven't
No.
met.
Dan, transportation? No? So I think our committee.
No, you're always hot at the beginning of the year,
That's when
transportation.
it gets going. We are in negotiations. We haven't had a meeting recently. We have one next week.
Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
Upcoming meetings is May
It
15th.
should have been on May 8th, next,
I was gonna
there
say.
should be two there. So May 8th, next meeting is an
Wednesday.
executive session at 6 o'clock to do a grievance level, school committee grievance level with the Auburn Education Association. That's at 6 o'clock. So Peter Femley, the school attorney, will be with us to share the information, and the Auburn Ed Association will be here to share their information. That's at 6 o'clock.
That is a grievance hearing.
It's a grievance hearing.
Yes, okay.
And then the regular meeting,
Meeting
May
on the 15th.
Yep, 7 o'clock.
All right, any future agenda items, please let Katie or myself know. We have no need for an executive session this evening, so I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Can I just say one
Yes,
thing?
you
Sorry, I just wanted to congratulate the top 10. What a huge
Yes.
honor. I know that went out this week, so kudos to all those
Yes,
kiddos and their
yay.
families, because that's a huge accomplishment,
Yay.
so
Yay to the
congratulations.
kids.
Very good.
Two
And
reminders I
Can I say
forgot
one
to.
thing also? I was in Orono this weekend and EL graduate Grant Hartley threw the winning touchdown pass at the spring football game.
I know, it's
Excellent,
awesome.
excellent.
Great.
Just two reminders of things coming up. The Memorial Day Parade is on the day of Memorial Day, the Observance Day. If anybody still wants to be in the parade, just go to the website of the city, and we're welcoming anybody. We have like about 30-something units so far, and then there's still more coming in. And the other thing is, we're having an auction, of course, the day after that, May 29th to June 7th for the library. If you want to find out about that, just Google it on the library, but we're looking for donations of either money or items or services, that kind of thing. I'm always asking for money, I guess.
Also, I think it was six EL students received the President's Award for the Lewiston Auburn Hall of Fame, Auburn Lewiston Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So that's a big success, too.
It's awesome.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Declare us adjourned. Thank you very much.
Everybody.